So we are, for those of you who don't know, this is the first interview that we're not interviewing a musician or a music artist, and this is also the first interview where we're outside of our home studio. So
you may live to regret this decision. This interview may never see the light of day.
Oh, jeez. Well, I'm here with the tyrant you should trust, the one and only Mr. Vermin Supreme.
Thank you.
So
my name's Vermin Supreme, and I'm from the internet.
That was exactly what I was going to ask you. So you're from the internet. You want to explain
Absolutely,
that? How
sir.
is one from the internet? You
well,
were born from? Did you come out of a printer?
I came forth from the digital circuitry. Yes.
Okay.
Did you ever see the movie Tron?
I think I've seen bits of it.
The remake. Did you ever see some samples from the remake of the movie Tron?
I have.
Yes, it's a little bit like that. Of course, I am a meme. I've probably you may have seen me memeing around the internet.
Of course.
In 2011, I became a viral overnight. 2011. I said
a different timeline.
Yes,
over here.
2011. The year 2011. I became a little famous on the internet during a political debate in New Hampshire when I introduced the amazing and revolutionary ideas of zombie power to the masses.
Absolutely.
Where I was able to introduce the mandatory toothbrushing law as a concept to the C-SPAN and across America and the world. I was able to discuss issues such as free ponies for all Americans. It is a federal pony identification system.
Of course.
Now, once again, of course, this was in 2012 and or 2011, if you prefer, or the 1900s. Either way, it depends which time stream you're traveling in, of course. But for some reason, that particular little segment of me glitter bombing one of my political opponents.
You were turning him. Was it? You were turning
Jesus
him gay?
told me to turn him gay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And that was Randall Terry, a very vicious homophobe, a very prolific anti-abortion activist.
Do you think that paid off? Do you think it worked? Do you think he's a little more?
I think it did. I think it changed things. I think it changed the dynamic, and if it didn't make him totally gay, it definitely made him more sparkly.
Just a little bit gay.
It definitely made his personality and his clothing a little more sparkly.
So maybe he's a little less homophobic now.
I can only hope. But I have my doubts. I saw a recent music video of his. He's a musician of sorts, and it was truly horrible, very frightening. But he's a fun guy. He's very entertaining. He's charismatic on his own right, and I think we're okay with one another. He doesn't hold that fact against me, and whatever. So it goes. You can't hold these grudges. You can't hate people. These beefs are go nowhere beefs. They don't mean anything. You can just sort of get over on and move on with your life. Shake your opponent's hand and say, "I think you're fucked." You're despicable. I don't like you one bit. However, we'll leave it at that. So I feel we're like that, me and him. And
that's good.
Yes, and of course, in the intervening now, interesting note was in 2008. I was on the New Hampshire primary ballot. That was the first time that I'd paid my $1,000 to get on the ballot. As a Republican that particular year, didn't do too well. But anybody who pays their money to get on the ballot in New Hampshire is allowed to be part of that debate, the lesser-known candidate debate.
Of course, I do remember this.
Yes,
being in school.
I said anybody who pays $1,000 and is led on the New Hampshire primary ballot, run. You tried, and they didn't let you on. However, peanut gallery over there. Thank you very much. Sorry about that, Bobby.
No, you're good. This is entertaining.
My entourage, they get a little uppity now and again. Anyway, so in 2008, I was eligible to be in that debate. But the interesting thing is that as I was on my way up to the debate, there was a blizzard, and me and my wife had to pull over in this blizzard because we could not drive to the debate because it was just too snowy, and we had to spend the night in a hotel.
Now, if you had a pony and a sleigh,
absolutely,
this might be a little easier.
Exactly. So it was a disappointment. It was a minor disappointment, but it was actually a blessing in disguise. And by 2012, things had changed radically from 2008. And in that short period of time, there was a massive migration from the mainstream media that at that time was still print media that moved over to the digital media. In that time, between 2008 and 2011, 2012. The internet had sort of fully formed as a social media integration unit. In 2008, I had a short beard. It grew in the meantime, and in that period of time, all those Lord of the Ring movies came out, and so the wizard meme became a thing. And so when I was up on stage, if it was a short beard, it wouldn't have made it, but the long beard, had this resonance. When I was going to go on to 08, I really did not have my material tight. I did not have the text of the mandatory toothbrushing law committed to memory. The gingivitis is destroying America, and all of that. And so and Obama was elected in 08, but by 2012, people were a little played out on him. As often happens. This always happens. Any election time, you're going to see a lot of shiny young people get very excited about a candidate and then get very disappointed after 4 years or so. And so we had that time where it's like, and so there was a new audience for it. And it was a beautiful thing, and it went completely viral. It went out there. It was made into a hit musical single by the Gregory Brothers.
Yes.
Called "Turning Gay," where they sampled me.
Shout out to the Gregory Brothers. I'll put that link in the description to this.
Oh, you should. My name is Vermin. Making it sound like auto-tune because they auto-tuned me. Vermin Supreme, and auto-tune. You can vote for me for president if you want. Do you still stand by your pony pledge? Yes, I do. Free ponies for all. Turn all that pony poop into methane gas. And one more thing. Jesus told me to turn Randall Terry gay. He's turning gay.
You gotta start rapping soon?
He's turning gay.
You should definitely start rapping.
My name is Vermin, and I like a pony. And if you don't like it, well, then you can blow me. My name is Vermin. I have a pony. That pony is my friend, and I would love that pony till the very end.
The first freestyle.
I braid its mane. I can't complain. The way that pony treats me, it drives me insane. I have a pony. I like to drive it hard. I ride my pony all around the yard. I have a pony. My pony likes to bark. I have a pony. My pony likes to ride around the town, ride around the town, ride around the town. It's a little.
You need to drop a mixtape. You gotta bring the whole music thing more towards 2019. You gotta drop a mixtape.
Like a mixtape. Mix it all
Get
up.
a good photo of you looking hard. You gotta look real hard.
Oh, I always look hard.
Always
look hard.
And
super
then
hard.
You just gotta have these crazy beats and you just rap over them.
Oh yeah.
Get you some auto tune.
Well, let's see. There's a recent rap single that this individual put out. This very young person, Ace something. You'll have to put the link out to that. It's like this really entertaining and really stupid, rap. But that's okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
Meme rap is important. Meme rap is a legitimate musical genre.
It sure is. It sure is. Yes. No. I've been very impressed with the fan compositions. If you go to SoundCloud or you look around on the YouTube, you can find like probably literally dozens of songs about Vermin Supreme. Some are good, some are bad. A lot of them sample my original speech. Some of them don't mention me at all. Some are instrumentals. But there are literally dozens, if not scores, of Vermin Supreme songs. It's sort of like
inspired by your aura.
Yeah, it's like it's part of the meme thing. I mean, when you're a meme, people repurpose your image and your likeness and your words. I think that's what that's when you break into memehood, when people can say different things with what you throw at them. And so yes, I've been remixed many times. I've heard Vermin Supreme dubstep. I've heard just a lot of different genres of different music where they're sampling me or singing about me, and sometimes it's serious. Sometimes they're using it's a relationship song or something, or it's like how's that about me? I don't know, but
a way to make it about you.
Yeah, a song. What is their name? If I remember the names of some of them, I'll send you links for sure.
Oh yeah, of course. I definitely want to hear them. If you got some Vermin Supreme raps, please send them to us. Please. I want to hear some bars. And I want to note that the first freestyle and the first rap on this show came from a non-musician. So for all the dozens of rappers who are coming here in the future, step your bars up because Vermin Supreme is the hardest freestyle to date.
And I gave you the explicit lyrics.
Version.
The inexplicit, the safer radio one goes, "My name is Vermin. I have a pony, and if you don't like it, well, baloney."
So. You gonna have a Kids Bop version come out soon?
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Kids Bop version.
Kids love the ponies. Kids love the ponies for sure.
So,
wheels on the
pony. Tyrant you should trust. You want to kind of go into that a little bit? What is the tyrant you should trust?
That's my tagline, Vermin Supreme, the friendly fascist, a tyrant that you can trust. Let me run your life because I know what is best for you.
I believe you.
All politicians are vermin, and I am the Vermin Supreme, and that is why I am the most qualified candidate in this race at this time. Yes, I'm a politician, and I will lie to you because I have absolutely no reason not to.
Love the honesty or inhonesty. It's hard to tell.
So that's a segment. That's an excerpt from my campaign stump speech, and that I've been giving that stump speech for probably over 30 years now.
Yeah, that was my next question. I wanted you to elaborate on the quote. You will lie because you have no reason not to.
Absolutely. When I wrote those words, I was in a drug study. I was in a human drug study in Boston. I was 30 days. I did 30-day drug study in order to earn the money to. I got $1,000 for being in this drug study as a human guinea pig for a month. In that time, I wrote some of the material. I came up with the concept of the mandatory toothbrushing law, which ultimately got fleshed out later, and took that money, and I spent that money on computer typesetting, because back in the day, that's what you had to do. I spent that money at a printer to print up posters that said Vermin Supreme is your mayor, demand a recount, because there were no Kinkos in those days. And I went down to Baltimore, and I campaigned. That was my first campaign, 1987, mayor of Baltimore, Maryland, and that's where I brought it on. And of course, I was Vermin Supreme for a number of years before that, 85, 86.
Politics for a while.
Oh yes, in Baltimore, Maryland, I was doing bookings and promotions for a couple nightclubs down in Baltimore. We lived in a big, giant, crazy art house full of crazy people, and we would throw these parties with way too many bands and way too much beer, and until we finally got evicted, and then we would walk around the town and find out different locations. We would find parking garages, or I would look up and see some giant warehouse space for rent, and I would just call the number, and I would say, "Hi, I'm working on a theater production, and we need a place to build sets." And so I would tell them this lie, and I would make this 2-week rental and rent out the space, get it ready for the party, and then would bring in 15 bands and 15 kegs and just let it rip and roar all night and just, violate all sorts of fire codes until eventually the fire marshal did catch on, and we had to go a little bit more legit, and that led into taking over the Marble Bar, which was a Baltimore bar. It was one of the original major punk rock bar back in the 80s in Baltimore. Dead Kennedys, Scream, and they all played there. And I was more involved in a little bit of the punk rock scene back in those days, although I was looking a little more hippie, but definitely where I was hanging out was the punk rock scene. And, saw Scream and Fear and True Sounds of Liberty and just all those groups back in the day, which mean nothing to you young people,
well,
but
punk rock is
they were real
resurgence right now.
Back in the days, oh yeah, sure, I'm talking real punk, original punk, I'm talking grandpa punk. Because I'm an old person now, I don't know what happened. I was young, and then all of a sudden I got old. But it's played very much to my advantage because I've been doing this so long. But back in the day, when I would be out on the street with a boot on my head and ranting and raving through a bullhorn, I think I came off more like a crazy person, or I was a lot more dismissible. Like, oh, look at that crazy kid! Like, look at that stupid hippie! Look at that stupid hippie with the boot on his head. But, once I got older and my face started getting craggier and my beard started getting grayer, it seems to have given me a lot more gravitas. And so it gives me something to play against. It's like, why, look at that dignified old man. But why does he have a boot on his head? What the?
You leveled up to a wizard. That's what happened. You didn't get older. You just leveled up, became like Grand Wizard.
That is a very good observation.
Yeah, well, let's not go with Grand Wizard. That's a little...
Oh, correct. Yes, that has certain connotations.
Yeah.
So, being from the internet, who are your parents? Did they two computers, and how does that work?
I most likely yes.
I'm just. And do you have like?
Well,
what's Thanksgiving like?
Do you know Goatsy? I sprung forth from Goatsy. Goatsy.
So you have to fill me in.
I know Goatsy.
Goatsy is one of the original memes on the internet. I would have to say
The one.
And Goatsy.
You didn't have to cut me off, guy.
No,
Nah.
Goatsy was
If I saw it, I'd probably.
I don't know if it was a JPEG. Essentially, it was this dude bent over, and he had stretched out his anus to incredible proportions. I think he had both hands in it, and it was open wide. And it was sort of like the original Rick Roll. It was like you might get redirected there, or somebody might use it. It was when message boards still existed. And if Rod can find it, it's pretty obscure, but it's truly obscene.
So is that that's father to you?
Yeah, let's just say I sprung forth from Goatsy's gaping anus. Let's see.
What the fuck?
But that's an
they just put a bunch of memes in there.
That's the original meme right there. That is when memes were memes, people. That was the golden age of memes. It didn't get no better than that. When you could share gaping assholes with impunity and not have to get worried about getting shut off or censored to Facebook. If you shared Goatsy today, they would kick you off Facebook pretty fast. But back in the day, you could just put Goatsy out there for all to see, and it was a beautiful thing. They were much more innocent times.
Yeah. Well, the social media police took over.
Yeah.
So what are family get-togethers like? I'm definitely curious.
Well, you can see that in the movie, actually. The finale of This is Vermin Supreme is the 30-year anniversary of Becky and Vermin.
You go talk on the mic.
Sorry. So in This is Vermin Supreme, which is the recent documentary I directed, you can actually see a big family event. It's a 30-year anniversary of Vermin and his wife Becky. It's like a Rainbow Gathering, except smaller, with kind of more with a very Vermin-centric theme. You got the wood pile in the middle. You got the outhouse where you can do your thing, and not exactly all the amenities of regular technology and but magical things like toothbrush gardens. You got lots of pony toys in the trees, lots of strange baby dolls over the place. I cover all this in my own book about the 2016 election.
Just wandering around.
Wild Vermin looks around for some of his magic water.
Oh, hello, I'm back. I was just looking for some water. Rod there off camera, of course, talking about stuff. But of course, he was talking about real world things, and we were talking about imaginary things. I believe.
Documentary you got.
Yes, the documentary does cover a lot of real things. It does cover a lot of pretended imaginary things. And actually, the documentary does a very good job of covering.
The second, we actually had stopped. For some reason, it stopped recording.
Oh, okay. Well, we've stopped recording.
We got the camera audio, so
okay.
I'll just have to cut the camera audio.
Once again, of course, we're live here. We're having a little glitch with Bobby Dee.
Let's take an end to part 1, and we'll jump right into part 2.
Okay,
hold on. All right.
So.
Thank you guys for tuning in to part 1. Stay tuned. We're jumping right into part 2 right now.
All right, so let's jump right into it. The free pony policy.
Yes.
You want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Ponies for all Americans.
Sounds like a dream.
It is, of course, a job creation program. It will create thousands and thousands and millions upon millions of jobs as we prepare the infrastructure for a pony-based post-fossil fuel transportation industry. Of course, it is a federal pony identification system, so you must have your pony with you at all times, and that means that will be a massive construction boom as we retrofit the entire United States housing stock to be pony accessible, sort of the American Ponies Act of pony accessibility. I guess it's the word I'm looking for, of course. Now, of course, not everybody understands the pony-based economy, and so I'm hoping to be able to tell you a little bit about the pony-based economy and pony economics in general. And it's a very simple thing because once we have established universal pony ownership, once everybody in America has their own pony, what we will have, I mean, what do you have? When you own something, you own it. And when you own something, you have equity. You have equity in your pony because your pony, although it's a free pony, is certainly worth something to somebody somewhere. And so when you have this free pony, we have equity. And so once we've established equity, that you can borrow against it. Okay? So once you can borrow against your pony equity, then we are creating pony-based debt. Now, once you have created a class of pony-based debt, we can create all sorts of crazy pony debt-based instruments, financial instruments, sort of pony-backed securities, pony default swaps, AAA pony bond markets, and all of these things that a lot of smart people go to college to make up these imaginary constructs that we can sell to the public. And so what we're gonna do is create a bubble. I'm talking about a giant pony bubble in the economy. And this, everybody knows, like when you have a bubble, things are good. Your economy is cooking. I mean, it means all the cylinders are firing, industry is happening, people are making money, and bubbles are just amazing. The problem is with a lot of bubbles is they burst and you have a downturn. But the beautiful thing about a pony-based economy bubble is that it is going to be reinforced and steel-belted and will last forever. So I think that's the important thing you need to understand about a pony-based economy is it just will only go upward. It will only expand, and it will not decline in the least. I mean, we're sure it's going to be a lot of work. I mean, how will an interstate roller coaster be compatible with ponies, for example? Will ponies be able to run a pony-based roller coaster between states? Will they be able to fit in the pneumatic tubes? Because once we have a pony-based post-fossil fuel economy, that we will not be needing any oil pipelines. And so I hope to retrofit all the pipelines into pneumatic tubes like you might have seen in banks for transportation purposes to shoot ponies and people across the country, so that it'll save a lot of wear and tear on your pony. Of course, we're also working on a Ponies in Space program. Some are calling it Space Horse. But of course, that's very important. That's a pledge of mine to put ponies in space, ponies on the moon, and send ponies to Mars. And then once we have enough ponies in space, we will be able to form a space cavalry and finally take on the menace of the space monsters and the space aliens that confront this great nation of ours. And of course, that's just a stopgap measure until we can build a concrete dome over this great country of ours for absolute protection of safety and stuff. Because I know a lot of people are afraid of things.
Okay, so why ponies?
Say what now?
I said, why ponies
Well, I think I heard you, but I'm not sure I'm really understanding.
I mean, I love ponies.
I know what the two words mean, or why, and I know what ponies mean.
Why not ponies?
I
would
don't
be
know
a better
why
question?
they would go together with a question mark at the end. It seems that ponies are just the most wonderful and affable animals on the planet. I know there are some people who don't like ponies.
I love ponies. I would love for
pony haters will be dealt with. That is what the dental re-education centers are for.
Okay. So you're going to teach the pony haters about pony economics.
We're going to teach them to love ponies.
It's going to be like
they'll be coming out and they're going to be loving ponies, like not in a carnal sense, mind you. Now, once again, of course, in my new book here, I Pony: Blueprint for a New America, there is some pony erotica. It's true. There is some dirty parts about ponies in here, and I would read it for you.
Pony erotica.
Yes, sir. It's tastefully done, very tastefully. Okay, fine. It's pretty raunchy, but nonetheless, it's all in my new book, I Pony: Blueprint for a New America, and this is a book about the future, Bobby Dee.
Of course.
This is a book that it tells about a future long after a Vermin Supreme presidency. This is a book that is about the future when everybody has their ponies, when zombie power fuels the nation, when secret dental police have set up secret dental checkpoints every couple hundred yards or so for you and your children's protection and safety. What this book from the future is about, it's a warning. It's essentially a warning from the people of the future to you, the people of the present, their past, that Vermin Supreme is a madman and must be stopped.
So, Vermin Supreme, the madman, and must be stopped.
Yes.
So for the pony policy,
it's all right here in my new book. It's available online, yes.
So the pony policy is going to take quite a bit to get funded. How do you plan on funding that?
What are you talking about? They're free.
Once again, I'm
They're
sorry.
free.
I thought that I had explained.
They
it
are
to you.
free, but
let me show you this little illustration here. Okay, this is. I don't know if we can get this on camera.
you can probably
I'm gonna move
show that up to the camera. It's some pony erotica for you all.
So let me tell you, when a boy pony meets a girl pony and they fall in love, they want to be very close and do things together to show their love. And sometimes after they show each other their love, a short while later, after full gestation, a free pony, comes out of the mom's pony vagina.
I see.
Okay? Out of the pony vagina, because in the pony uterus is because the pony, and when I say they loved one another, I meant that the pony daddy was sticking his pony cock in the mommy's pony vagina. And I'm not saying that because they weren't parents at that time, so they were just fucking, okay? But as a result of this joyous union between this loving ponies, yes, a new baby, absolutely free pony is born.
So how are these ponies being housed? Like, are you gonna have pony housing in order to make all the free ponies?
Of course. Well, it's part of the building boom. It's part of the construction boom.
I see.
It's part of the economy, invigoration. It's going to make everything awesome.
And how is this going to help fuel the future? You said we're going to get rid of fossil fuels.
Well, exactly. We will be have you heard of the new Green Deal that they're trying to push?
I have not.
Okay. Well, I came up with it first, and it's pony based. That's all I'm saying. The fact that these other politicians have been ripping off my pony platform, in particular Hillary Clinton, who tried to steal my pony platform and give it to Bernie and all this nonsense.
I did see that.
Yes. I had to sue in federal court in order to get pony to that protest. Sometimes my activities happen in the real world, and that was one of them. I wanted to bring a pony to a protest to a Hillary Clinton book signing in Concord, New Hampshire, because she was ripping off my pony material. And I actually had to sue the city of Concord in order to have a pony at that protest. Because sometimes
you were successful, from what I know.
Oh yes, because you know what? You know what I always say. You gotta fight for your right to pony. Yes, that's that. And in fact, that's gonna be one of the songs in this rock opera. I know I had mentioned it to you personally. I don't think we talked about it in the interview. But sometimes I go on tour.
I think a lot of our crowd would recognize that one.
And oh yeah, sure. And so we are putting together an exciting rock opera that we are going to be touring in the near future. It's a rock opera about it's going to include my origin stories. It's going to include my rise to the presidency. It's going to include my turning zombies into power. It's going to include ponies. It's going to have the time travel. I'm going to kill baby Hitler. All of these things, and it's going to be musical, and we're going to be singing songs, and we're going to have live music and recorded music, and I'll be singing, and there'll be fog machines and lasers and strobe lights and all sorts of things to give you seizures. And it's going to be very exciting, and it's going to be a sing-along, so everybody will be able to sing along. It'll have a karaoke feel to it, and it's going to be really, really exciting, really good. And of course, it's going to be based on a whole bunch of classic rock songs that you young kids will not recognize. So there's that.
Maybe they can get hip to it.
Oh yeah.
So with the whole free pony policy, so are you just gonna give newborn babies free ponies, or is there an age that you gotta be?
Well, once we get things going, once we start to figure out how to implant pony embryos into humans, essentially human babies and their pony will be born at the same time. Now, once again, of course, this could entail having ponies implanted into pony wombs, or perhaps it will involve planting human embryos in ponies, because I think that would be easier, because ponies get pretty big, and I can't imagine a pregnant lady having a big pony in her belt. That would just be absurd. So I think it's much more practical to implant human baby embryos into pony uteruses along with foals and colts, because they would just fit better. And
take a lot of stress off the mother too.
Absolutely,
the human mother.
Absolutely, it's sure it'll be great. For sure. There's no doubt about it. It's a brave new world, friends. A brave new pony world.
And you must have your pony with you at all times. How
yes,
is that
yes.
going to be checked? What if your pony's sick?
The secret dental police are going to be having checkpoints. They're going to be checking. They want to make sure that your tattoo and your pony tattoo match.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to they've got the barcode scanners. They're going to scan it over you, and So, and if don't match, forget about it.
So that base is covered right there.
Absolutely.
And so there's going to be...
It's all right here in my new book, iPony.
Make sure you check out that book.
Oh, yes. It's iPonybook.com.
iPonybook.com, guys. Go check that out.
That's absolutely right. Or if you're watching the telethon tonight with your $50 donations, you'll get this book for free. I'll even autograph it for you. How about that? And an interesting thing is I have started a program where I am mailing this book or we're sending this book into the prisons, into the prison system here in America, because I think we can all agree that the prison system is a pretty horrible, hellacious place where the majority of people are nonviolent offenders or drug offenders and don't need to be there. It's a huge industry that has been taken over. They have a huge lobby. There's like very powerful industries that own politicians, and they are pushing forth the war on drugs and the war on crime and victimless crime to the point of filling their prisons. A lot of cities and states have built prisons, and they actually signed contracts with the private prison companies that say they will supply a certain number of prisoners, or they'll lose money. They'll have to pay money if they don't provide prisoners. So there's this incentive that is purely profit-driven to criminalize people, to arrest people and put them into the system. And once they're in the system, it's hard to get out. And there are political prisoners in this country. There's a lot of political prisoners, people who are in prison for their political beliefs or their political activities.
Absolutely.
And so the publisher of this book, Bob Tomistic Books, has agreed with me to make this available to prisoners, and we've started a program to send this very book into the prisons, and we've already successfully sent one into Sean Swain, an anarchist prisoner, and we are sending them one to the founder of the Silk Road, who's also
I am aware of who that is.
Okay, a nonviolent offender.
Of course.
We heard his mother discuss the case, and it's not what was told in the media. It wasn't some murder for hire or heroin by the mail. No, it was not that at all. It was more like Craigslist that was a little more open, and it was pretty much like that. It was a resource, and Ross did not facilitate anything. In fact, there was explicit prohibitions against it. They didn't want that shit on there, and they would take it down when it did pop up. And so I'm sending. Get one to Chelsea. She'll be getting one. Yep. Once I get the address. So we're doing that. So once again, that's something that we're doing.
So this kind of gets into a good question. It's kind of a good topic that I've noticed is coming up. How do you feel about allowing inmates to vote?
I'm all for it. Yeah, I think they're citizens too. They just because they've been taken away for doing a crime doesn't mean that they don't have some opinions. Some will argue that they should give that up, but I think they've given up quite a few liberties just by being imprisoned, if you will. So I would have to say, sure, I stand for prison abolition in real time, real world. Of course, part of the farcical platform has to do with the dental re-education centers and enforcement, things like that, and secret dental police kicking down your door and all of that. But in real world, yeah, for sure. I think Florida is going in the right direction. They are reinstating voting rights to felons. Which is ridiculous. The felons, they have done their time. I mean, they did a crime, they did their time, and now it's time for them to be reintegrated into society, and that certainly includes the right to vote.
So, do prisoners get free ponies too, or do they get the ponies upon release?
I think they would have their ponies. I think it would be a very good rehabilitation for them. I think studies show that people do well, that when they learn to care for things, they learn to care for others. The studies that I have heard about pets in the prison system are always positive. It's like it gives the prisoners another reason to live. They are in a fairly hopeless situation. I mean, you can only imagine. It's you're confined. You're being told what to do at every time. Yeah, it's a horrible place.
So with the whole pony policy, no need for cars anymore.
Exactly.
We're going straight pony.
It's a vision of the future. Yes.
So
obviously the cars are killing the planet. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I drive. I'm a hypocrite like that, but I mean, I think we all have to acknowledge our own little part in messing it all up.
So are traffic laws going to be the same, just kind of with ponies?
That's a very good question. Currently, sure, we're not.
And gas stations are going to have to be converted to hay stations?
Exactly. Part of the infrastructure situation. Yes.
Yes. What about safety? What do people crash? What do people crash? The ponies.
Oh well, you'll be wearing your government-issued foam rubber suit, of course.
Oh.
Yes, for safety. You don't need airbags when you're wearing a foam rubber suit.
You don't.
Absolutely. You bounce.
You bounce around.
Yeah, for sure. It's a whole lot of fun.
Well, it just seems like everybody want to get in car accidents or pony accidents at that point.
And ponies like to play.
Are they going to be like speed limits for the ponies as well?
Well, top speed of equines in general is about 37 miles an hour. And, of course, a lot of people are saying, well, how in the world can we ever achieve time travel, flux capacitor style, through such a slow-moving pony? Because, as we all know, the DeLorean in Back to the Future hit 88, which I don't know, secret Hitler numbers. I don't know why they used that one in particular. However, 88 was the speed that used in the trilogy of Back to the Future with the flux capacitor. So I have scientists that are currently working on a version of the flux capacitor that is biologically based, that's genetically based, and we'll be able to fuse that into the ponies, and so we will be able to achieve time travel through pony travel at about 33 miles an hour, which a pony can easily do. So that I see that as the future.
So is this time travel going to be regulated, or is everybody going to be able to just willingly travel through time?
For starters, it'll be a little regulated until I get my business done.
We got to take out Hitler first.
Yes, of course. First things first, we got to take care of Hitler. We got to take care of Mao. We got to take care of Leopold, Pol Pot. Just all those crazy ass mass murderers.
So how do you plan on doing it? You plan on going back to the day they were born and just taking it out right there?
Maybe before.
Maybe before they were born.
Maybe even before.
Maybe right at the parents. Maybe giving the dad a condom before it gets
there's
done.
A lot of options. Some are less bloody than others, but
you could just hey, I know what you're about to go do in there. Hand them a rubber real quick, and then Hitler would never conceive.
I mean, a lot of these horrible people, condoms were terribly ineffective back in those days. They made out of sheep guts and stuff.
So how is Vermin Supreme? You currently have scientists funding this time travel research.
Well, they're not
working
on
it,
but they're working on it. Yes.
How is Vermin
Past,
Supreme
present,
funding this?
and future?
Is this through all the money?
Well, I made some very good
marathons?
investments in my time travel in the future.
Of course.
I mean, in the future, then I came back and made some good deals, made some good bets, bought some good stocks. But I lost it all when the time stream tore a little bit there. Shit happens. What can I tell you? The unexpected consequences, careless time travelers messing up the continuum, the butterfly effect. It's endless. There's just so many different dimensions. I'm very happy that I'm president in a lot of them.
So you've been funding time travel through your own time travel investments.
Well, once we abolished taxes, yes, it was all voluntary. I mean, private industry is always your best bet anyway when you want to get something done, according to the Libertarian principles. Yes, indeed. Always.
That's amazing.
And, of course, I am seeking the Libertarian nomination for the presidency this election year. That's a fact. My chances are much better. It's a smaller party, and I have a real base of support in the Libertarian Party. That's as surprising as that may seem. But I am actively seeking their nomination, and hopefully, with a little bit of luck, that will be the next major debate that I can take place at their national convention in Austin in 2020, where I hope to really bring forth the issues.
I look forward to hearing it.
Because, I have a lot of reach, believe it or not. I'm intergalactic.
So you do work with other galaxies, other planets?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite planet to go to?
Well, I hate to pander, but Earth is the place. Am I right, people?
Earth is the place
Earth.
to be.
Let's hear it for Earth, everybody. Who here is from the planet Earth? Is anybody watching this from the planet Earth? Raise your hand.
Hey, I'm watching this.
Okay, so
we got 3 people right here.
I'd say most of the people who are watching are definitely from planet Earth. So I'm going to play to my strengths here on this time stream.
So planet
Earth number 1.
Planet Earth is
number 1. I don't care.
I
don't care what you say, Bobby Dee. I like planet Earth.
I like planet Earth too. We just gotta stop destroying it.
Well, that would be helpful.
And this is the ponies.
But maybe we have to destroy it in order to save it.
So would we go to the future to do that? Would we go to the future to kind of see how we've destroyed the planet? They come back to save it. Is that what you mean? Destroy the planet in the future, then come back to see how we destroyed it.
You gotta get back to the right timeline. That's it's
that's
really
probably
tricky. There's a lot of calibration involved. A lot of calibration.
That's the hardest part about time travel.
I think so. I think otherwise you're gonna end up in weird places.
What's the weirdest place you've ever been, like time traveling?
Like with some dinosaurs on Mars.
Are they cool with you over there? The dinosaurs?
Yeah, they were talking.
Was it like
they were talking?
Oh,
dinosaurs.
they were talking.
Yes, they were very.
Was it
very
like Jurassic Park? They wasn't like
yes,
Jurassic
but they
Park
weren't
at all?
eating people so much. Well, there was no people. It was a novelty. It was. It really surprised them, and
so they kind of they let you be.
Well, telepathically we communicated. I mean, they weren't talking English
see.
per se, but sure, they understood it. We understood each other.
That's
it's all here in my new book. It's actually not in it's going to be in my new sequel to this book, Vermin Supreme and the Dinosaurs.
Damn, they need a cartoon on you or a show.
Well, hopefully
or a video game maybe.
We're gonna make a few pitches to Adult Swim. Our tour is gonna take us down to Atlanta, and I believe that we'll be doing some sort of Adult Swim podcast, where of course we'll be laying out the exciting ideas for a Vermin Supreme super series.
I think that would be amazing.
I mean, of course, it would be just like Rick and Morty, but without Rick and Morty. That's my pitch. Hope you like it.
That would be amazing. I would watch. I'd pick up the DVD box set. I'd have all the seasons.
Absolutely. A lot of potential.
So
for sure. It's amazing that I haven't been eaten by corporate America yet. Just lucky, I guess.
So we're going to take another quick break and part 2. Got some more questions coming into you for part 3. We're going to get into how Vermin Supreme will protect us from the impending zombie apocalypse. Utilizing those zombies for clean energy.
Zombie lips.
The toothbrushing law and more. Maybe a little more pony erotica if you guys are into that.
Oh, yeah.
But part 3 coming up. Stay tuned. Vermin Supreme Kult Classic Interview number 9. And
Peace.
we're moving.
Number 9.
Part 3. We are back with the one and only Vermin Supreme. So let's get right into it. Utilizing zombies for clean energy. Ooh, Vermin Supreme hit something. Dang. Off the pen.
Man.
Can I hit this again? Is that cool?
Oh, yeah. Hit on the vape pen, man.
Man, you got to love this shit. I need to get me one of these.
Very exciting times. Yeah, it's short money, man. It's a good way to smoke when you can't be smoking the dope inside and all, or in a vehicle, or a lot of places that just don't like smoke these days, burning combustibles, and so you can. Also, they have the dry vapors too. I used to have one of those where you would actually put the dry flower in there.
Yeah, I got to get me one of them, man. So what? Vermin Supreme loves to smoke. How much Vermin Supreme smoke on like a daily basis? Vermin Supreme,
maybe a gram.
Maybe a gram a day. Gram a day keeps the doctor away.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what's
usually
up.
pretty much a one hitter.
You have the blessing of living in Massachusetts.
Yeah. We can grow our own weed, up to 6 plants per person, 12 per household, and you play your cards right, and you can have up to 9 ounces. 9
That's
ounces
great.
Is legal amount to possess. And that's about a year's supply for me, just about. I mean, you figure a gram a day, 28 grams to the ounce, so that's a month.
Yeah, it's a month right there.
So just growing my own, I saving thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
thousands of dollars. So
absolutely.
if that's an ounce a month, that's 12 ounces a year. That's like $300 an ounce, $400 an ounce. Or yeah. So
keeps you going.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite strain?
Could I interject something actually?
Yes.
Actually, I have a friend who's started a new app for weed delivery. And he's asked me to potentially help be one of the managers for this because we'll need real life drivers if we were to do it.
Yes.
So if that's a job that's interesting to you, by all means, you know how to get a hold of Vermin. Message him or message me.
Yeah,
Rod Weber on Facebook, RODWEBBR, and it's called Stash and Dash.
Stash and Dash.
Stash and Dash. You heard it here first. Kult Classic.
that a
Stash
legal
and
thing?
Dash coming. Hey, Stash and Dash.
Reminding me that he's just run it through he's okayed it through the Senate in his state in Oklahoma.
Oh.
So what we'd have to do is work on some of the legalities here in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. So it's a similar project.
Well, yes. So we'd use the technology that he's developed.
Yes.
It'd be like Uber for weed.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
And
so
potentially a legal thing until the state
well,
clamps down on
absolutely.
one's
So
permits and
this
shit.
is the thing. I mean, at least in Oklahoma, the problem is that if you're what's the word?
Distributing, yes.
Well, no. If you're a manufacturing facility for marijuana, you can't deliver. So it has to be a third-party delivery.
Yes.
So and I've talked to friends in Los Angeles. They've got similar systems there. Potentially, and I'm not 100% on board yet, but we've been talking.
Right.
About,
if it can be combined with pizza and weed delivery.
there you go. I don't
seems
see
a
why
perfect
not,
model.
Because what he's talking about is just a third-party delivery system.
Yes.
So if that happens and we get the legalities.
Oh, it sounds
cleared,
very good. I mean, in a lot of states, a lot of times it's the loophole. Like they because they did not make a specific law by default. It's open territory until they regulate it because they love to regulate.
Right,
things.
so it's creating this opportunity because the manufacturing facilities cannot deliver.
Right.
Anyhow, that was all I wanted.
Well, that's good. That's a good.
So,
That's
yeah, we got.
yeah.
Listen, if
Good
you're
to know.
watching this and we're looking for endorsements, you got anything marijuana related? We smoke a lot of weed on this
yeah.
show.
Heck yeah.
So
We're looking for sponsors. Hey, yeah.
That being said, I'm sure that we'd be interested in people helping manage in Charlotte. That's your town.
Oh yes,
or anywhere across the United States, really.
we gotta
It's
get
not-
we
it's
gotta
not-
get
it's
up
not
on
legal there,
legalizing that down in Charlotte or decriminalizing
First
it.
things
I'm
first.
sorry, wherever it's legal, of course.
Wherever
I
it's
mean,
legal,
we're
yes.
not-
We'll be on it, Charlotte. We gotta get the move it out there in Charlotte.
Yeah, sure. Get it together, Charlotte.
So reach out to me, Rod Weber, or if you can't remember my
Legalize
name, bother Vermin.
Legalize
we're
it.
working on this stuff, and you can be part of the revolution.
Legalize it.
Let's get part of the revolution, Charlotte.
Legalize
There you have it. If you ever
it.
wonder what Vermin Supreme
Oh
smokes.
yeah, if I was the president, I'd legalize.
Vermin
that.
Supreme is going to
Weed people
legalize it everywhere.
Gonna legalize.
Do you smoke it everywhere if you legalize it?
Oh,
Is there gonna be
yeah.
no
Oh,
restraints? You
yeah.
can just smoke anywhere,
Of course.
anytime.
It's up to private businesses, of course. If they don't want you blazing up in their business,
course, of
you
course, you
don't
gotta
have to
respect
step
that.
outside. But in public, I don't have it. I mean, some places they try and prohibit cigarette smoking on the beach these days, which is just a little bit overboard, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, people should be responsible with their butts and their own vices and all of these things. But I mean, come on. I mean, it's outside,
So let's jump into
Can I just drop one more thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so my guy who's doing it just got permission for doing this at the vendings at the Gathering of the Juggalos in Indiana next summer. I don't know if you're doing that.
I hope to be there.
There you go. I'm just saying, get back to us on this.
Oh yes.
'cause
We need to
we
talk
have
about
things
that.
moving.
Well, he needs to know that he can hire me to front his thing or something.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
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 Maybe he'll have little people too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, again, you guys want that
How do
endorsements
magnets
for
work
this app?
anyway? How do magnets work? Magnets. How do they
How do
work?
magnets work?
Nobody knows.
That's an
Nobody knows how
interesting
magnets
question.
work. It's
Maybe you
anyway.
could-
Juggalos for Vermin Supreme. It's a page on Facebook, just in
Juggalos
case.
for Vermin Supreme.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
Facebook,
interesting.
man. Not a lot of people, not a lot of juggalos, but they just don't know yet. I have a lot of fans in a lot of places. A lot of people know me in a lot of strange, weird corners of the world, if you will. I mean,
Hopefully, we can get Charlotte behind you and the
Oh,
Charlotte
yeah.
music scene behind you.
I hope so.
Absolutely.
During the was it the Democratic National Convention was in Charlotte a
Yes.
few years back,
Yes.
and I was totally there, and we had a show there, and it was very well supported by the community. I can't recall the bands that played, but it was a rocking event for sure, and we had a whole lot of fun on the streets. I'm a protest wrangler, if you will. I don't know if your audience knows that part of what I do, but I like to take the whole thing outside into the real world, and I might be running for president, but I also might be trying to talk down the riot cops, because I think that's a very important thing, talking down the riot cops. I like to read them sections of police manuals, crowd control manuals, to try and let them know that some of the best crowd control is no crowd control. Just let the crowd disperse on its own, and if it looks really hairy, I'll just try and make them chill out, because when you have these protests, a lot of times you'll have two lines. There's going to be a line of police officers, and there's going to be a line of protesters, and there's this space in between them, and eventually something will or could happen, and it's a space where somebody could throw something and start some shit, or the cops could spray some stuff and it'll start some shit, but I have found that if I intersperse, if I place myself in that space, that no person's land, if you will, and start talking some very sensible things through my bullhorn in a very calm, collected voice, not trying to stir people up into a frenzy, but just letting everybody know what's going on, what the ground rules are, what I expect. When I'm talking to the cops, I'm letting them know how I want them to behave, which is chill. You trying to avoid crowd panic is another thing. I mean, it's arguable. Maybe it's just hyper camp counselor type of stuff, but I found that it's effective by letting the crowd know that a lot of people who are out in the protest riot world have never been there before. They don't know what to expect. They don't know how to react. They're just out there exercising their First Amendment rights of free assembly and free speech. So they need to know. So I will tell them, like, and it's prophylactic in the sense that it's by telling them, it's like, well, y'all, you could be tear gassed or pepper sprayed. So if you're wearing contacts, you need to remove your contact lenses. And a lot of people don't even, know simple medical advice or how to respond when the cops come swinging with their clubs. Just simple advice like, please walk, don't run. Don't trample people. Make sure you're situationally aware. Another potential bad thing happens when a crowd thinks that they're trapped, when a crowd thinks that they are surrounded, and sometimes we are kettled by police and we're not allowed to leave, and that can really create a panicky feeling in a crowd. So something as simple as letting them know that there's an exit, letting the crowd know you are not surrounded. If we need to exit, we can go out this street here until it's closed off by the cops or whatever. But there's a number of techniques that I have learned that have enabled me to enter this environment, and the persona, the Vermin Supreme, the boot on the head, the humor it allows me to go a lot further than I would have ever been able to without it. Playing the clown gives a certain has a disarming effect on the police, if you will. They're less likely to be really uptight, or unless that's their predisposition.
Yeah.
Unless they say, "Oh, look at this freak, like to hit him." Yeah, sure. So that's a public service that I provide for the people, usually at the conventions or other big demonstrations. A lot of times I will go there. I've been brought to music festivals for that express purpose. I did the Fractal Fest, which was a EDM festival in New York last year, and I was brought in, specifically because they had a lot of cop problems the year before. And I had been going to the Rainbow Gatherings for many, many years. You know the Rainbow Gatherings?
I'm not familiar, no.
Okay, well, they're an annual event, and they have much smaller ones all the time. And what they are free assembly, free associations out in the woods. We've been doing them for over 40 years. Rainbow Family of Living, Love, and Light. It started out from the hippie times, but it continues. And essentially, we can have 10 to 20,000 people in the woods, in the national forest, with no one in charge but ourselves. it happens. Visualize, if you will, that we're out in the woods, we're in a big meadow, there's 4,000 people in concentric circles. All of a sudden, people come down out of the woods carrying 5-gallon buckets of food. There's 100 kitchens in the woods, and each kitchen is sending down food to feed the people. Everybody in this circle gets fed. During this time, a magic hat goes around because it's a non-commercial event, because it happens on a national public forest. And in order to expressly use our First Amendment right of assembly and speech and religion, no commerce can be occurring, because then that's a different thing. So everybody gets fed. Somebody goes around with the hat. We have a dancing crew of musicians, and we do magic hat songs, and we collect the money. Once the money is collected, it goes to the center of that circle while the people are eating. The money is counted. It is given to the banking council. Anybody there can be a member of the banking council if they want. Total transparency. The number of taken in that evening is announced. The next morning, the kitchen council, representatives of all the kitchens, have a meeting. They decide what they need. They put together their shopping list. They give it to supply, which is its own function. Anybody can work in any of these functions, and the supply sets up supply. They take the money from the bank. They go to town. They get the supplies. They bring the supplies back. The kitchens come down and get the supplies. The kitchens cook the food, and they bring it down to the circle the next night. That goes on for like 7-10 days.
Damn, I gotta see this.
There are miles of water pipe from springs uphill to all the kitchens. There's this crazy infrastructure. There are people that are working parking. There are people that are working greeting. On the 4th of July, we have a big, giant hand-holding circle for peace from sunup to noon. It's a silent meditation for world peace. And then the silence is broken by Kitty Village, one of the villages that has like maybe hundreds of families, and all these kids come out and they break the silence. We have an ohm, a big old hippie ohm, and then we party. And it's a very intense place. There's workshops. There's all sorts of different theme camps. People that have been going for years and years. It's like it's a festive, but it's not electric. Although we do have some electric things in the bus village, because that's a gray area. So essentially, it's a total countercultural event that is a temporary autonomous zone. It's anarchistic in nature. It is anarchy. It's where I've learned everything about a lot of anarchy is being at these events. And so one of the functions that we also provide is entertainment, of course. And so when I started going to the Rainbows, it was I did the entertainment portion of it. I did MC work, hosting talent shows and all that stuff, and learning to be a clown, because I could do whatever I wanted to, because it was like all these different camps. I would think of something stupid to do or say, and I would go to camp after camp and do it. Same thing, and just get laughs. And that's where I learned my chops. And after a few years, I learned that another major thing that we provide is security. We provide our own security. Shante Sena is what we call ourselves. It's Sanskrit for peace keepers or some such. And so we do that. And so I started to use my clowning skills in security situations, trying to diffuse tense domestic situations or beefs or people fighting by bringing a little clowning into it, or a little, boom, think about it this way, and trying to change their thinking. And so one of the other functions that the security provides is escorts for the media, to make sure that everything's smooth for them, and escorts for the police. And when we escort the police, it's a twofold operation. It's trying to we have to let the people know. 6 up is the call that we let out to let people know, oh, the cops are coming, hide your stash, leash your dog and all that. And keep the cops chill. So I would walk with cops, like half a dozen state troopers for an 8-hour shift through a rainbow gathering, or state troopers from all these different states. And it would be perfect. And I did not mention that the federal government spends up to $1 million a year on a specific police force, the Incident Command Team. They pump all this money in, and they have these National Forest Service police officers, law enforcement officers that come in to harass our gatherings. And the freedom of assembly issue has been going on for years.
So you guys keep fighting this?
We keep fighting it. They come up with a permit system, a permit scam, and we have had to take them to court, all the way to the Supreme Court, to fight these permit restrictions. They're always wanting to regulate the gatherings in any way they can. They send out scare teams into the small towns near where we have these gatherings, and they'll like try and scare the citizens that all these fucking hippies are going to come in and they're going to, rape your children and, steal your chickens and whatever. And then they find out it's very different. So it's a very interesting event, and I learned a lot of how to deal with people and how to deal with situations and be a clown and deal with cops. And when I did these functions, I would always feel very comfortable because I always knew people were watching my back. A lot of people ask me, Vermin, do you get arrested a lot? Because out in riot world, I'm putting myself in these positions that are like right there. Sometimes I'm behind police lines, and for what I do and where I put myself in these situations, I very seldom get arrested. But I've been arrested more times at the rainbow gatherings than I have on the streets. But at the rainbow gatherings too, I mean, I know what's going to happen. It's like, okay, they're going to arrest me. They're going to drive me a little bit down the road and cut me loose. And so I've been very lucky. I don't get arrested too often. I've never been beaten by cops. And it's more like I don't want to phrase it like I'm working with them, because it's not, but I'm attempting. I'm doing things that
peacefully
are similar goals. Where I feel like in a perfect world, they exist to help us put forth our First Amendment rights and help us exercise this and do these things. But of course, in real world, it's not. It's the opposite. But I like to pretend, and it's part of my optimism. I have a pretend piece of paper here. It's the U.S. Constitution. It says we can do these things. Don't you see? And these are police control manuals, and this is how you're supposed to behave. Don't you understand? And so I feel, my role is of an educational nature. But truth be told, anecdotally, people tell me that they do feel safer when I'm on the streets with them, that I've avoided violence, that, that I've saved lives and shit like that. I can't vouch for it, but Rod can vouch for it. Rod's seen it, yeah.
If I can chime in, I'll tell you straight up, when Vermin Supreme is at a protest, he has the ability to sway the mental collective, which is the crowd. You see the cops come in there, and for a lot of the people that are there for first time First Amendment rights, just to say what they want to say, they're not really aware that the Gestapo, the jackboots, the fucking crazy ass riot cops are about to come in and kettle you. And there is something comforting that Vermin's presence has over the crowd, and just by him, reading from various crowd control manuals, talking about the Posse Comitatus Act, talking about basically any of the field manuals, which says like, hey cops, like if you've got a part of your crew that has mental problems, or if he's got a hair up his ass about protesters, well, you need to keep him in line. You need to make sure that he's not going to beat people's fucking skulls in. Vermin's able to read from. I mean, like he's just got it committed to memory.
Some of them, yeah.
A lot of them. Well, sure, and I've seen you read too.
Yeah.
But he's got so much, protest experience that he is a comfort to a lot of people. And I've definitely seen events where it could have gone really badly. And I've been at a lot of events that have gone very badly. I'm a guy who gets arrested all the fucking time.
True.
But, Vermin manages to escape. But I'm always the one who's like the recipient of the political violence, so I can appreciate someone like Vermin.
You should try a boot, Rod. It's magic.
Yeah. Well, we got about 30 seconds left before we gotta end this. All right, we are back. We decided that we weren't done. We decided we were gonna go into a little more. So, Mr. Supreme,
yes,
the war on gingivitis.
Yes, gingivitis has been eroding the gum line of this great nation of ours for long enough, and must be stopped. For too long, this country has been suffering a great moral and oral decay, in spirit and incisors. A country's future depends on its ability to bite back. We can no longer be a nation indentured. Our very salivation is at stake. Together, we must brace ourselves, bite the bullet, and cross over into the bridgework into the 23rd century. Together, we will make America a sea of shining, smiling, shining, smiling, shining, smiling, smiling, shining, shining, smiling, 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 shiny, shiny, smiling, smiling, shiny, shining, smiling, smiling, shiny, 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 smiling, 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 shiny smiles from
And that is what we
sea
need.
to shiny sea.
Yeah, our next president.
Now,
So-
friends, do not be fooled by false teeth prophets. This mandatory toothbrushing law is not about the secret dental police kicking down your door at 3 a.m. to make sure you have brushed. No, it is not. It is not about the dental re-education centers. It is not about the preventative dental maintenance detention facilities. It is not about the government-issued toothpaste containing an addictive yet harmless substance, nor is this mandatory toothbrushing law about the DNA gene splicing to create a race of winged monkeys to act as tooth fairy enforcers. No, friends, it is not. What this mandatory toothbrushing law is really all about is simply strong teeth for a strong America. Thank you. I'm Vermin Supreme. It's all right here in my new book,
In his book, go
I
get
Pony,
that. I Pony.
Blueprint for a New America.
So how often most people brush their teeth, Mr. Supreme?
Twice a day and
Twice a day?
snacks. Yeah,
2 minutes?
after snacks.
After snacks, flossing?
It's all in the
definitely.
bristles, quite frankly. Quite frankly, bristles are very, very important. The government-issued toothbrushes will have soft bristles. If you're brushing yourself with them stiff bristles or hard bristles or cheap plastic bristles, you're doing yourself or your teeth no favors. You could eventually wear your enamel out, and that would be a terrible thing for you and America. So,
And what are the consequences to those who disobey
well,
the fight against gingivitis?
I'm sure you're familiar with the way that the current police deal with minor infractions.
Yes, of course.
You would be like that. A lot of beatings, I suppose.
Well, hey, anyway, we got to get it across.
Yeah.
Make sure you brush your teeth.
Yes. So your dental hygiene is very, very important to me and very important to national security.
Of course.
And
Of course.
yeah.
So, getting into this next question I have, a very important question, perhaps the most important question we've asked this whole interview.
Yes, sir.
How will you protect us from the zombie apocalypse that we can't avoid? It's going to happen.
Yes,
It's
the
gonna
imminent
be
any day now. It could
any
not,
day now.
could not happen too soon, quite frankly. That's what this country and what this world really needs to happen to bring us together as a nation. I believe a zombie outbreak and epidemic would certainly be a unifying occurrence in America.
This is inevitable.
It would give us something to really come together and deal with as a nation. And it's about time. This country's been divided for too long. And I believe that zombies can be the true uniter that this country really needs. So I hope to actually harness the awesome power of zombies as an energy source, utilizing the latest in hamster wheel technology to start with. Now, once again, of course, I'll be doing I'd like to do a little reading from my book, if I may.
Of course.
So if I can do that, I will do that. And Rod, if you want to noodle along, feel free. I'm going to show you a picture of a zombie turbine. That's what a zombie turbine looks like, and that's what
It's a zombie turbine, everybody.
zombie turbine.
Perfect.
It's all here in my new book, I Pony, Blueprint for a New America. Okay, let's see here now. This is a story about Chuck, and he works at one of these zombie turbine power plants. And here we go. Chuck made it past the last of the dental checkpoints and finally arrived at work. The full-body pony X-ray fast lane was definitely the way to go if you were in a hurry and didn't mind a few extra rotogens to the nads and the noggin. After parking his buggy, Chuck led his pony, Tony the Pony, Federal Pony ID number 131-444-013, to the employee stables. He tipped Roy, the stable boy, a pony nickel. There had never been an accidental zombie release in a commercially licensed zombie turbine facility. The same could not be said about zombie storage or transport operations. These were technically not part of the turbine facility and therefore did not sully these pristine statistics, nor did it affect their ability to make the claim. "Hello, Al," he said to the guard. "Howdy, Chuck." "Hello, Doris," he greeted the receptionist. "Hello, Mr. Heston." He made his way to the locker room and removed his street clothes. Opponents used to jibe that more people had died in Vermin Supreme's car than in zombie plant accidents. Well, that was before more people got killed in zombie power accidents than in President Supreme's car. Chuck suited up in his insulated protective suit and entered the elevator that would take him down under the Earth's surface. Elevator going down. Next floor, hell. Zombies and ladies' lingerie, he announced to no one. Exiting the elevator, he walked to the door at the end of the hallway. He smiled broadly at the door as the dental laser scanner scanned his teeth. It was confirming his identity, removing plaque, and looking for cavities all at the same time. The door opened. The important thing to remember was that they were no longer human, Chuck reminded himself as he headed down the metal stairs. His footsteps echoed through the stairwell. He pulled on his mittens and earmuffs. It was cold down there. There had certainly been any number of human fatalities during the zombie energification program. A drop in the bucket compared to the zombie wars before it, to be sure. Most of these deaths occurred during the early years of the program. Human error and stupidity were mainly to blame. There were some zombie energy-related occupations that did have a higher danger rating than others. Freelance zombie wranglers had one of the more dangerous jobs, especially in the beginning. Eventually, specialized zombie capture equipment came online and minimized the risk. Zombie extraction dentistry was also a hazardous human task before it too was automated. Most surviving relatives were okay with giving consent for their zombie relatives, giving them a good home, if you will. It was an honest way for a zombie to make a living, or at least earn its keep. They got plenty of exercise, had plenty of company, and didn't kill people and eat their brains. For the comfort of all, many of the details of zombie energy harvesting were simply not discussed. Inevitably, the zombie rights movement, but they got nowhere. It was quite a sight to behold from his perch on the catwalk above the pit. A treadmill the size of a football field with thousands of undead moaning in unison, each in their own harness, slowly marching along. The zombies themselves were practically perpetual motion machines, requiring almost no fuel. They could produce many kilowatts of electricity for practically nothing. Clean, green, and renewable. Zom power was almost too cheap to meter. Almost. The technological achievement of actually harnessing the awesome power of zombies had indeed proven formidable and taken several generations to take effect. First of all, there was the problem of gear ratios and such. The early hamster wheel technology was laughably inefficient compared to today's standards. It was when electrode implants became standard, allowing the zombies to be synchronized for efficiency that large-scale zombie power became feasible. Zombie power produced zero emissions other than the inevitable stench of rotting flesh. Dipping the zombies in polyurethane during processing helped somewhat, but not much. The ventilation systems in these energy facilities were very good, as was the overall working environment. There was a reverence and respect for the undead. They were the ones doing all the real heavy lifting. Cruelty towards the undead and necrophilia were strictly discouraged. Photography was prohibited. People who would have never gotten along in real life were happy to provide the power. And that's what it's like in the future.
The end.
The end of that chapter.
So that book came directly from the future.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
this is fact. This is going to happen.
Oh yes, this is going to happen. There's
Wow.
no way to stop. You wish you could stop it, but no, it's here.
But it sounds like now I believe you. The zombie apocalypse is what we need.
Yes, we must destroy America in order to save it. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Yes.
Most definitely. And so, how do you plan on capturing these zombies and getting them onto
Well,
the
nets,
hamster wheel?
definitely nets, and things like lassos. Yippee-yi-ti-yo, get along, little zombies.
Maybe like a
Many
zombie cowboy.
a mile before we get to the power plant. Exactly like cowboys, but with
You
zombies.
see, zombie boy.
Sure, why not? I don't know. It sounds a little femme, but we'll go with it. Sure.
Yeah, I could see it.
How do you handle a zombie, man?
You got like human flesh on like a fishing pole at the end.
Well,
of
brains.
The fishing line.
Brains.
On the
Human
end
brains is what you're
you
trying
just
to.
kinda lure
Well, yeah,
them
you're
in.
trying to lead them. You don't even need to lasso them so much. You just need the brains.
Yeah.
They'll follow the brains anywhere. They're stupid.
Is that how you keep them moving on the wheel?
Yeah, with
brains?
little brain sluice, little brain juice. Yeah, absolutely.
So are we saving every zombie or just the healthiest and strongest zombies? Are we
Well,
killing most of
they
them?
need replacement.
Yeah,
Parts
yeah.
fall off.
Yeah.
They rot. They're not immune to decay. Yeah, they smell because they're rotting, and they just fall apart naturally. They wear out. So it's only sustainable if we can continue infecting new people with the zombie virus. Yes, that's what I'm suggesting.
So
I am suggesting infecting healthy humans with the zombie virus.
And how will these humans be selected?
Randomly,
So
like a lottery.
Could you be like maybe
In a cereal
there an
box.
age
You might
cutoff?
win in a cereal box.
is there an age cutoff like like for the draft for the military? It's only between 18 and like 23.
It sounds
or
like a
something?
reasonable compromise. Sure.
Like, yeah.
So I would suggest there's actually a real life precedent in the United States. Woodrow Wilson, when he was president, actually oversaw 65,000 forced vaccinations. Forced sterilizations. They used vaccinations as the precedent, since they were able to force vaccinations. That they were then legally allowed to force sterilizations. And this was tied into the eugenics movement, which was an inspiration for Adolf Hitler, which Vermin has to go back in time and kill the baby of.
Maybe they won't be inspired to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're really changing the world over here. Going back, killing baby Hitler.
That's a history moment. Thank you, Rod.
Sorry,
Rod, you're a real buzzkill, dude. Real buzz. What the hell do they have to do with zombies, man? I know zombies. Woodrow Wilson was a zombie killer? No, he was a vampire killer, I thought. I was pretty sure. Wasn't that the musical? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, zombies. Okay.
You gotta spin it as a fun thing.
All right. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be a zombie.
So perfectly healthy
Frosty
human. So what if
the zombie was a very happy zombie. He loved his brains. He loved his trains. And he
Euthanized everyone.
So what if somebody's like halfway through their life and they could still get randomly selected to become a zombie?
anything could happen.
Or
anything.
Anything could be toddlers.
These
Oh,
are
I'm gonna take
strange
your child
times.
away.
Anything can happen, man.
You would just hope for the best.
It's
You don't
just
get
strange
selected.
Times. Yeah, for sure. The transition times are going to be very confusing and terrifying. That's
The real objective is to make pony/human chimeras, like Vermin was suggesting earlier. If you could hybridize them with the zombies, then you really have
Pony
to
zombie hybrids.
which would make the children brush their teeth before they go to bed. I assure you that.
Yeah. Or else you have to see the pony zombie hybrid.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, we're gonna feed you to the pony zombie hybrid if you don't brush your teeth. It's perfect.
Exactly.
And that's what you could do with all of the dead ponies once the ponies die. Pony zombie hybrids.
Exactly.
Take it a step further. You could take them back in time, and if you had an army of these pony human/zombie hybrids,
Hitler would have no chance.
Hitler would have no chance whatsoever. Or Leopold, Pol Pot, any of the other dictators in history. We could go back and right all the wrongs, all the false flags that the United States committed to do their wars of genocide across the world. We could take that back. The Sons of Liberty dressing as Native Americans to throw the tea in the harbor, that's gone. That's out the window.
Bam.
You take the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which we used to get into Vietnam and kill millions of people there. All that would be gone. Imagine the ponytopia that Vermin would create.
All right.
More excerpts.
Gonna read another section here that I think is pretty exciting. Along those lines.
We got 6 minutes left.
Okay, man. You are here today because you are the best of human pony hybrids that this country has ever known. Soldier, if you see your grandmother out there today, what are you going to do? Kill her, sir! I can't hear you. Kill her, sir! That's better. And if you see your sister here today, what are you going to do? Kill her, sir! Why these men had volunteered to have their own human bottoms parts surgically removed and be attached to pony bodies was anybody's guess. But they had hundreds of them, and now they were ready to defend their country's capital from the advancing zombies. Sarge, I'm scared. Of course you are. You'd be a fool not to be. Steady, men, the sergeant said calmly. Don't toot till you see the yellowy whites of their eyes, he told the trumpeter. Then the commander, Sergeant Centaur, gave the order to the man ponies. Charge! Swinging their swords and battle axes furiously, the Centaur cavalry attacked. The ponymen charged headlong into the pulsating zombie mob. Zombie heads flew. Zombie heads rolled. Headless zombie bodies collapsed to the ground. By the score, they hit the dance floor. Zombie limbs lopped off by the hundreds. The ponymen's weapons were cutting through the crowd like butter. Zombies had not evolved an unnatural defense against the new sword-wielding predator. Things were going swimmingly for the troops. The carnage was horrifying. They cut a wide swath deep into the undead legions. The sheer massive number of zombies, however, assured that they would be eventually surrounded. Sure enough, they were. When this occurred, there was a predictable turn of events. The Equihumans were no longer on the offense. What was once going great was now not so great. The Centaur cavalry formed a defensive circle. Several, actually, as this was happening throughout the plaza. But the never-ending onslaught of zombies finally became too much. Their defensive circles became compacted and too crowded to even use their weapons effectively. The zombies, who had seemingly mutated into not eating humans, not realized that the humans who were busy severing their heads were also half delicious pony. As the centaurs reared up to get more kicking action, zombies clamped themselves to the tender pony underbellies and began to bite and rip through their hide. Zombies wrapped themselves around the centaurs' legs, weighing them down to be eaten by the throng. Some centaurs rolled on their backs and tried to shake off the zombies. Nothing seemed to work. Discipline broke down amongst the troop. It became every pony man for himself. Thank you. That's a story about the human-pony hybrids that will be attempting to protect the nation's capital against the zombie hordes. And that's
perfect.
Yeah, that's in the future.
And again, this is confirmed from the future.
Yeah, you'll be
reading. It's like the Bible, but better.
You'll be reading about in the history books.
But it's like the Bible, but true.
Exactly. iPonybook.com. iPonythebook.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for coming
out. Thank you for watching this interview. I know we said we were going to end this last time, but we're for real ending this time.
Yeah, this time we mean it.
We mean it this time. Shout out to Vermin Supreme.
Not like last time.
Our first non-musical guest, first political guest, president of the future, president of the universe, president of the internet, the tyrant you can trust.
Thank you.
The one and only Vermin Supreme.
Thank you, citizens.
And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Bobby Dee on the beat. BOBBYD with 2 E's on the beat. And get Vermin Supreme on Twitter, at Vermin Supreme. Get Vermin Supreme on Instagram, at Vermin Supreme for President. Get me on Twitter, by the way, at Bobby Dee 603. And be sure to follow us at Kult Classic Official, at KULT Classic Official. We got merch, we got shows. And speaking of shows, Vermin, you have to come by one of our shows.
Oh, yeah,
if you're
man.
ever in Charlotte.
Like I said, we got a rock
something.
opera. We got the rock opera coming up.
Oh,
I have no doubt we'll have a
You
date
gotta come
in
to a
Charlotte.
Kult Classic show.
Oh, that would be cool.
I'll give you a free ticket. You get on stage,
All
meet
right.
all the performers.
That'd be
Maybe
great.
jump in the
I
mosh
hope we can
pit,
make
have
that
some
happen
fun.
for sure. Well, the thing is with the boot, it's very hard to mosh because I have to hold it on pretty much.
I see.
And my elbows go
You can
are
observe.
high.
You can
I've done
observe
it
the
before,
mosh pit.
but I got to be extra careful
You
because
can-
my
you can-
elbows are up.
You can rate our
You see what
mosh
I'm
pit
saying?
on like a 1 to 10
Thank
scale.
you. I still haven't quite figured.
So
Yeah. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being part of my live stream also.
Absolutely, that was fun.
That's
I
been a
enjoyed
lot
myself.
of fun, and I hope your audience has at least a taste of what it is that I do. Check out some of the other links.
I'm sure you guys
I'm
will
always
see
a
him.
little bit leery when I'm meeting new people and new audiences, and,
Yeah.
and they're like, "What the fuck is that dude? What is going on there?" And but yeah, so check out my work, and yeah, check
You
out
should
the
have checked
links.
out Vermin Supreme.
Vermin
Cast
Supreme.
that vote
Yep,
too.
Yes, true.
Let's
Do
get
that.
Trump out of office. Vermin Supreme's the only one to beat Trump. Vermin
VerminSupreme.com.
Supreme's the only one who could beat ISIS. Like Vermin Supreme. It's all. He's the last thing that we have to save the universe.
So true.
Stop global warming.
Truer words have never been spoken. Thank you.
These people. We just gotta get all these people hip. But again, thank you guys for real. Peace.
Peace.